The launch of Reflections was held at the historic Abercrombie House, just a short distance out from Bathurst. It is a prelude to a major exhibition of women's fashions to be held from the 2nd to the 9th of May 2015, the Bicentennial year.
Hello Ernst, how are you today?
Good, thank you.
I'm out here to see a function that you mentioned to me. Can you tell me what it's about?
It's 200 years of women's fashion, and it's been put together for as an introductory event for the major event which we've part of the 2015 Bathurst Celebrations.
It's getting quite exciting now as that year comes up, and it's good to have some preparation going on before that date.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing eventually the big display, but also today to talking to people involved in it.
Yes, and I'll take you through and introduce you to everybody.
Thank you very much. Rex Morgan, it's lovely seeing you again in the beautiful house.
Lovely to see you again. Welcome.
And Joyce, you're involved with the function?
She's our secretary.
Oh, very good. And Elaine, your Ernst's wife, and your
President of the Food Market.
Oh, well, that's indeed lovely. So it's going to be a great event when it comes up.
Hope so.
Yes.
This is Pixie and Lorraine. They're both
Pixie
committee members
Lorraine.
for the Reflections.
So you're actively involved in planning?
Yeah, they've done a lot of the work that you see around here.
Oh, right. It's already looking beautiful when you see those.
And Lorraine will be doing the interviews with you later.
That's great.
What we're exhibiting here
Yes.
is, Pixie, would you like to run him through, or Lorraine? What? Yeah, they'll run you through what's showing here.
We have here, this is a dress that was made, and the label inside says Webb & Co.
Right.
So it was made in Webb & Co. And as you know, Webb was a very old department store.
Yes, the building there, yes.
One of the was the first one over the Blue Mountains.
Right.
And this is Mary Piper's mantle. She was the wife of Captain John Piper, who was a well-known Bathurst identity.
Right.
He built Alloway Bank and later on lived at Westbourne. And here we have Mrs. Slack's. This is Mrs. Slack's dress. Mrs. Slack was the wife of Joseph Slack, and when we did our looking up things, we found that her husband Joseph was the blacksmith that did the iron railing round the courthouse.
Oh, isn't that
so
interesting?
it's quite a feature.
Yes.
And that is Mrs. Slack's walking dress.
Wonderful, yes.
Yes. And over here we have the dress worn by Rosalind Stewart. She wore it to her brother's wedding.
Right.
She wore it then to have her studio photo done, and as you can see, it's in good condition.
It certainly is.
And it's returned home.
Oh,
you like to think, don't you, Christopher? You like to feel that Rosalind has returned home.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because the Rosalind Stewart dress is very important to this house.
Is it? Yes. Yes.
It's wonderful that it survived. You know,
Right.
It's 130, 140 years, I guess.
So that's the occasion where it was first born, was it?
Yeah, it was bought new. The dress was bought new by James Horne Stewart for his daughter, his younger daughter Rosalind, when she was about 18 or 19 years old.
Right.
And she wore that dress to every major event in her late teens and early 20s. There are photographs of her at her brother's weddings wearing it.
Yes. How wonderful and how well it's preserved. It's amazing.
Wasn't she tiny?
Yeah.
Well, she was slim and fit, like you, Pixie, in this picture here of Abercrombie House at a wedding in 1890. There is Rosalind
Right.
wearing this dress as a bridesmaid to her brother's wife. This is her brother Alban.
To have the photo.
Yes.
Oh, I know. And there is James Horne Stewart, the builder of Abercrombie House.
My name's Lorraine Casey and I'm speaking today with Judith Attard regarding the Reflections display to be held next year. What gave you the idea for the display?
The idea for the display was was travelling in a car to a Working Women's Association meeting in 2012, and there was an advertisement on the radio about the birthday of Bathurst for 200 years, and if anyone had an idea. So I saw Monica Morse and gave her the idea of women's fashion, and she said to go for it and asked me where I was going to put it, and I said the Girl Guide Hall, and she said no, you've got to think bigger and better, so it's at the Bathurst Memorial Entertainment Centre.
Right. And what does the name Reflections represent?
Reflections represents the going back in time and looking in a mirror and reflecting the age. So going back from 2015 to 1815.
And when and where is the exhibition to be held?
The exhibition's to be held on the 2nd of May 2015 to the 9th of May 2015 at the Bathurst Memorial Entertainment Centre.
Right. And how many garments do you hope to display?
Hope to display about 50 odd garments over the periods of time, yes.
Right. So what periods are you looking at?
So 1815 to 2015.
So that will include the Depression years, the flappers?
The war, yes. Yeah, recycling after the war because there was no factories open. The hippie era, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up to 2015.
You look lovely. Yes, that's a beautiful, beautiful gown.
When it's up and running, you'll be racing around the shopping centre. One of you will be coming to dress me because I can't get into this thing or out of it by myself. 30 buttons down the back. I might add that there is not 30 buttons down my back because it's got a zipper, but I still can't do it by myself. So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you and welcome to Abercrombie House. What a pleasure to welcome you here. If we haven't met before, my name is Christopher Morgan. It's my duty to welcome you, and particularly on behalf of the Bead and Wirecraft Guild, because the wonderful committee of that organisation are the ones who are bringing this event together for the Bicentennial of Bathurst. So welcome. It says, I'd like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of the land. I'd also like to pay respect to the elders, both past and present, of the Wiradjuri nation, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians who are present. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we're standing on ground of deep significance to the Wiradjuri people, and of course we always want to make sure we acknowledge that. In a few moments I'm going to invite the Mayor of Bathurst to speak to us, indeed, sir, to launch this fabulous project. But before I do that, it just so happens that two very delightful young women of Bathurst, named Mahalia Diems and Joanna Knowles, happen to be here this afternoon, and I'm going to invite them to do something for us. They're going to demonstrate for us, for the first time probably in a century, the basics of the crinoline petticoat. And you can see the phones are already ringing. Originally popular in the 1850s and 60s, the crinoline, or sometimes called the hoop skirt, is lighter and more flexible today than when they were first made. These ones can unfold and spring easily into shape. The full crinoline petticoat is made of 6 tiers of bonded hoops and has a 4 metre circumference, meaning that there is room for at least 2 other people to fit. Now, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's my very great pleasure now to invite the Mayor, Councillor Gary Rush, sir, to come and speak to us and to launch this project.
Thank you, Christopher, and good afternoon, everyone. I think the opportunity to launch this, what is going to be an amazing event for our bicentenary, I mean, it says a couple of things to me. One is that it not only has it had, or does it have some historical significance in terms of the fashions that have been in our great city and our great region for the last 200 years, but I think just as importantly, it says the wonderful community engagement and the wonderful community within which we live, and the spirit of cooperation to think that the Guild has decided to make this significant contribution to our milestone next year. And when you think about it, the task that they have gone about in collecting the fashions, and I understand too that everything that will be on exhibition during the first week of May next year actually derives from Bathurst. So there is nothing outside of Bathurst that will be on display. And I think, that is also significant to think that we can celebrate with not only a demonstration of, what is very significantly part of our history. So I have been going throughout the community and talking to organisations about the plans that we have for our bicentenary, and I have been talking about this Reflections event. But having seen what I've seen today and that demonstration there, well, it actually adds a lot to what I can say about it. So I really look forward to continuing to promote this very significant event that's going to form part of our wonderful celebrations and of course our bicentenary generally. But look, thank you Elaine and your committee for inviting me along today and opening up this exhibition and opening up the communication of what this exhibition is all about. So without any further ado, thanks for coming along everybody today, and it's my pleasure to officially open this exhibition. Thank you.
What we're going to do now is to demonstrate to you something called the language of the fan. So, ladies, Mr. Mayor, I need you to... So, if you open the fan and close it again, it means, Mr. Mayor, and they're doing it, do it again, direct it directly at the Mayor of Bathurst. It means, you are cruel. That means you are cruel, Mr. Mayor. Now, if they just open it wide and stand there like that means wait for me. If they close it in a very gentle way, that means I'd like to speak to you. See, these would be great in council chambers.
Certainly the 2nd to the 9th of May 2015 are dates you should put in your diary to view an exhibition not to be missed during the Bathurst Bicentenary Celebrations.
Turn the other way. No pressure. Yeah.